In this video, you will see the steps to install the prerequisites for the course on a Windows workstation. We're going to install 4 required items and also go through 2 optional items. We'll install a Java SE Development Kit version 8. We'll install Eclipse version Neon. Mars and Luna are also supported by the Bluemix Eclipse tools. The Bluemix tools for Eclipse and the Node tools for Eclipse. We'll also install Nodejs and the Cloud Foundry CLI. And then we'll finish off by downloading and installing a text editor, Atom, and also Google Chrome that can be used for debugging Node.js applications. This is a Windows 7 workstation, and I will start up a web browser, and we're going to start by downloading some of the tools that we need for the course. We'll start off with the Java JDK version 8. Do a quick search on the internet and scroll down here to the latest version, accept the license agreement, and we're installing on a Windows 64-bit machine, so we'll get the Windows 64-bit installer. I'll save this to the local workstation. Now while that's downloading, let's go ahead and get another tool that we'll need. Let's download the Eclipse for Windows. At the current time, the version of Eclipse that's available is Neon. We'll download that version. It's supported by the IBM Bluemix tools for Eclipse. And with that download starting, we'll save that as well. Next up, we're going to need the Nodejs runtime environment. We'll get that from the nodejs.org site. You'll see when you get to nodejs.org, there's a couple of different download links. We want the LTS version. That one's going to be the most aligned with the IBM Node.js runtime that's available in Bluemix. And then lastly, we're going to need the Cloud Foundry command line, Cloud Foundry CLI tools. And to get that, let's go to, the GitHub page is the most direct way. I'll scroll down, there's a downloads section on the GitHub page. And again, we've got a Windows machine, so we're going to pick the zip file for Windows 64-bit. And that's saving as well. Let's take a look at the status of our downloads. The JDK is still coming down, so while we're waiting, let's install the Node.js runtime. I'll accept a license agreement. And for all of these installations, we're going to just take the defaults as they're prompted. And so now the Node.js installation is completed. Let's check back, and our Java JDK install is done. So let's do that one next. We need to install the Java JDK before installing Eclipse. And again, taking all of the defaults here for the JDK. When prompted for a path, the default path that you see is acceptable. Click on Next. And now our JDK is completed installing as well. I'll close this window. Next up, we're going to run the Eclipse installer. This is a little bit different than previous versions of Eclipse. Previous versions of Eclipse are available in zip files. This actually has a separate installer. When the installer comes up here, okay, we have a choice of different versions. We want the Eclipse IDE for Java EE developers. This is the version to install. And you can take the default installation folder, click on Install. You'll see a couple of license agreements. Go ahead and accept both sets of them. Here's a second one. Accept this one as well. And now Eclipse is installing too. So after Eclipse installs, it prompts us to launch it. We're not going to launch it yet. We're going to finish installing one more thing here. So we'll close this window and close this as well. And we have a link here on the desktop that we can use to launch Eclipse. Let's go back here and launch the Cloud Foundry CLI. Open up the zip file, and then you can run the installer right from inside the zip file. It works fine. And take all the defaults. And this is a very quick install. Okay, and finish. Close that. Close that down. And now we are ready to start Eclipse. We'll start Eclipse. And then from within Eclipse, we'll go to the Eclipse Marketplace to install 2 sets of plugins. One plugin will be the IBM Bluemix tools for Eclipse, and the other plugin will be the IBM Node.js tools for Eclipse. After starting Eclipse, go to the workbench, click on Help, and select Eclipse Marketplace. In the little search panel or the find panel, type in Bluemix, and I'm going to click on that search icon. Go down and select the install button here for Eclipse Tools for Bluemix. It's going to prompt here for the packages to install. We'll confirm with the defaults and accept the license agreements and click on Finish. So this goes through and runs. When it completes, it prompts to restart Eclipse. Let's not do that because we've got one more package to install. Select No, go back to Help and Eclipse Marketplace. Again, we'll type in Bluemix because this gets us pretty quickly to what we're looking for. Right below the Eclipse Tools for Bluemix for Neon, you'll see the IBM Node.js Tools for Eclipse. We're going to install these. And confirm that. And again, accept the license agreements. And click on Finish. Now, while we're waiting for the Eclipse Node.js tools to install, we're going to install a couple of other optional recommended items. The first one is a text editor. You could use Notepad or another text editor to add the code in these examples, but we recommend you use Atom. It's a free open source text editor. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Windows version here, and I'll save it to the workstation. And then, let's see, it's still running here, so we've got one more thing. Let's go ahead. Another tool that we recommend for doing development with Bluemix is the Chrome web browser. If you're doing Node.js application development and want to run the Node.js debugger, the Node.js debugger is only available inside of the Chrome browser. So we'll go ahead and download the Chrome browser and install it. Not going to set it as a default, so you don't have to have your default to use it as a debugger, but if you just have it installed, then you can use it when you need for debugging. And you have the option within Eclipse, there is a way for you to also set it to be the default browser for when you're in Eclipse. Let's take a look at our Node.js tools installation. Now it's complete, so we'll go ahead and restart Eclipse. And now Eclipse is restarted with the plugins, both the IBM Bluemix plugin and also the Node.js plugin. I'll disable error reporting, resize the workbench, and that should be good for our use in the course. Check back over here for installations, and Atom has now finished downloading. So we're going to run the Atom installer, and this will be the last package we'll install. So just to recap while this is installing, we started off by installing the Java 8 JDK, we installed Eclipse, we installed Node.js, we installed the Cloud Foundry CLI, and then we installed plugins for Bluemix, for both Node.js and also the Bluemix tools. And then we installed the optional Atom editor and also Google Chrome. So we've seen Java working because we've seen Eclipse working, but let's do a quick check here of Node and the Cloud Foundry CLI to make sure they also work. We'll start by running the node-v command. Node works, okay, it's version 4.6, and we'll run the cf-v and also see that we get a response back. So that's it. This workstation is ready for developing on Bluemix.